What are the brain people in there doing? What does their space look like? Are they in an office? Are they in a high rise? Are they in a lounge on a campus in the yard? Like, what does your brain space actually look like? And what are the people doing? What are the accommodations that they got? What's their work schedule? Who's clocking in where? And it really is a fun way to personify metacognition. Hey y'all, and welcome to Let's Talk Sis. I'm Shekinah, your host, and as we spend time together, I can promise you 3 things. I'll be honest, I'll make you laugh, and I won't hold back. Let's Talk Sis is your essential girl talk destination where you'll hear about life from the perspective of a Black woman in America, as our stories often go untold. I can assure you, while honest, we are a community for growth and love. Remember to like, subscribe, and share the podcast. Now sit back, relax, and let's talk, sis. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back. Welcome back to Let's Talk Sis. This is the best podcast out there, okay? I'm just being a little biased. This is my thing. To my own horn. Toot, toot. But for real though, Let's Talk Sis is a safe space for Black women, okay? We are a place for women who are deeply emotional, have not felt seen, heard, or valued, okay? We have room for you here. I'm your host, Shekinah, and this is absolutely one of my most favorite places to be, and I am very much so honored that you decided to join me. Now, if this is the first time you are seeing this, I appreciate the views, but that means that you are not a part of the Patreon, okay? Patreon gets to watch this before anybody else. They get to watch it in real time, okay? And that is absolutely a place where you need to be because you get to be a part of the conversation, okay? I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that in just a minute, but before I do, I want to make sure you understand that Let's Talk Sis is a community. And so that means that I want to hear from you so we can have a conversation. If you have a timeline topic, a Let's Talk topic, a question, a comment, a concern, something you want to discuss here on the pod, please let me know by sending me an email, okay? You can reach out to me at the Let's Talk Sis pod at gmail.com and we'll get into it, okay? Let's talk, sis. Now, we are a brand all about promoting authenticity in conversation so that we can heal, grow, and inspire our audience. So if you love what we're doing here, you can help keep the conversation going by supporting Let's Talk Sis. Now, to make it easy, there are many ways that you can support the pod. The first way, engagement, okay? Like the episodes, comment on the episodes, and subscribe to the channel, okay? If you don't know what to say or haven't figured out your comments or your thoughts fully, just leave me a purple heart or a sparkly emoji. They are always welcome, okay? The more you engage in the comments, the better I perform on the algorithm, and that is key for growth, okay? So speaking of growth, you can also support the podcast by sharing it. Simple. Just share the podcast with people you know would be a good fit for the community, who would enjoy the conversations that we're having. This is our space, so I need your help finding the right people, okay? And last but not least, you can support us on a monetary level by joining my Patreon, okay? The Let's Talk Sis Sisterhood, okay? For just $5 a month, you get early access, exclusive events, insider information, and you get to be a part of the conversation. So if you are looking for a space where you get to help build a community from the ground up, the LTS Sisterhood is the perfect place to start. Now, you can join for free, but there are much more exclusive benefits that come with paid memberships. So just go ahead, try it, join us at the free level. I understand you got to see if you like it first, but it's a good time over here down to the sisterhood, okay? So every contribution from cash to comments goes a long way and really makes a difference in us continuing to move this mission forward. So thank you for whatever it is that you decide to do to support your girl, all right? Thank you. Moving on. Now, I'm laughing because I'm looking at some of these comments and they laughing at me, okay? Before the show started, there was a little expose of characters, if you will, and these characters live in my brain. So, it says that would be so fun to write a musical. Added to the list. Will do. So if we have any playwrights, any script writers, anybody in musical theater, let me know in the comments because we can use you on this project. This says, this is hilarious. You are my oldest daughter's age, reminding me of my youngest daughter with your antics and energy. Antics is the perfect way to describe it. Well, I don't know if you want to call it antics, but I'm just here to have a good time, okay? I am the chief vibe officer. What else do you expect me to do? All right? So, moving on to our timeline topic of the week, okay? So, I was scrolling through my timeline, and I happened to see this video from someone integral to our universe here at Let's Talk Sis, and that would be the one and only Kimberly Tyler Jackson. And she was speaking on the concept of boundaries. So I'm gonna play this and then we'll talk about it.
I didn't learn about boundaries until 31 or 32. I had just got into therapy. One of the first things that my therapist said to me was, you have a light that is over your head, like a sign, a lit up sign that says, if it's broken, Kimberly will fix it. And I said, we got to turn that off. We got to turn that off. The first book that I read about boundaries was by Doctors Townsend and Cloud, and it's called Boundaries: When to Say Yes and How to Say No. And I love the book so much because at the time I was very much in the church, and it was written from a Christian perspective of talking about all the ways that Jesus had boundaries. And all of the times that Jesus had made it very clear what he was and wasn't going to do. So it kind of gave me permission to be able to explore this concept of boundaries without feeling like I am turning my back on the Lord and on the church and, you know, all the things. So at a basic level, when we talk about boundaries, boundaries are guidelines that govern our behavior. Boundaries do not govern the behavior of other people. So boundaries are about what I am and am not going to do. Sometimes when we've experienced trauma and or unsafe people in our lives, we have a tendency to kind of just block everybody out, because I'm not, hey, y'all bet you what you won't get another chance to do is catch me slipping. Okay? That's what you won't do. So we have a tendency to kind of just put up these walls. And unfortunately, what happens when we put up walls is that we also prevent the good from coming in.
So that was a clip from Kimberly Jackson, and she is the founder of the Discover Your Destiny program. You guys have heard me talk about her time and time again. And if you are really a part of the sisterhood, you have seen her in a lot of the collaborations that we have and that we are working on together. But I genuinely wanted to share that clip because I think the concept of boundaries is foreign to a lot of us, especially us as Black women. We are the saviors of the world. We are the creators of culture. We are the mothers of the future. Okay? And it's just kind of like everybody wants something from us. Everybody needs something from us. And we're competent and we're capable and we're cool and we're cute. And so yes becomes just so commonplace for us. And we don't often take a second to consider who we are, what we want, what matters, what's important to us, and how do we get that? How do we prioritize that above showing up for other people? We're not ever taught that. We're not ever given that opportunity to say, wait a minute, I actually don't like this. I actually would like that. Actually, I hate when you do this. And so giving ourselves permission to turn that light off that says I'll fix it, to turn that light off that says I'll be the one, to turn that light off to say I have to have the answers. And it's not saying we become complacent. It's not saying we lower our standards. It's not saying we don't show up and operate in excellence. But it is saying we manage our energy, we budget our energy in a way that's serving of ourselves first, and then the community around us, because we cannot serve from an empty saucer. It doesn't work. It never works. You always end up burnt out. You always end up overextended. You always end up second best settling, and never showing up for yourself fully. So and boundaries are not for anybody else to uphold. It's not. I used to think boundaries meant, if you do this, I'm going to say this to you, right? I'm going to stand up to you. I'm not going to let you walk all over me. I'm going to have to defend myself, right? That I used to think was a boundary. I used to think boundaries often had to be reactive. I had to wait for something to happen to now this is how I react. That's a boundary. When really a boundary is creating a space and an environment where those kinds of things don't even get in. I don't even engage with people like you. I don't even have these conversations to give you the opportunity to say something to me. When I call you, you get 2 minutes, because I can't allow myself to be susceptible to you saying anything more than what that 2 minutes could allow. Because in 2 seconds, you have the ability to say something to crush me or to whatever. And so therefore, I can't wait until you say something to crush me to be like, now when they say something foul, then I'm a make sure I tell them that that's not cool, and you will not disrespect me, and you will be kind to me. And no, that's not how a boundary works, sister. You can't tell somebody to not disrespect you. I'm sorry. You could tell them, but you're setting yourself up for failure, expecting them to, comply. You can tell them, but they probably would still say something disrespectful should you give them a chance to engage with you. So now oh, you don't respect my request. So my boundary is, I'm not engaging with you. I'm not giving you the chance to disrespect me. I'm not coming to your house for Christmas. I'm not going to the group chat vacation. That's the boundary. So shout out to KJ, as I call her, my sister, and thank you for the info and the awakening. Okay, so that's just going to be a little bit of what she has deposited into my life thus far, because today we're gonna talk about more. Okay, today we are talking about my brain people. Now, I'm sure I've mentioned them before, and passing and kind of some revelations that I've had, but today I just kind of wanted to dedicate a full episode to really giving you my understanding of this concept. Now, again, I first heard about this in the Discover Your Destiny program. Oh, wait, before I move on, sorry, let me get to some of these comments in the chat, okay? She says, let's see, where do we start? Kimberlyn said, hey, look, that's me. Yes, that is you. Finding out about boundaries changed my entire life. Yes, I don't even engage with people like you, period. That's what you gotta know, right? All of this, you can tell them with your actions, right? I don't have to verbalize that I'm not fucking with you. You'll see it. I promise you. You will see it. I can show you better than I can tell you. That's how the phrase goes. We can't control others' behaviors. I can only control myself. My mother used to say, I can show you better than I can tell you. I used to say that too. Thank you for using me for the timeline topic. My brain people is my most favoriteest conversation. Yes, my pleasure. Thank you for giving us something positive to talk about on the timeline. Okay. So yes, I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about my brain people. So I'm gonna share with ya this little slide taken from module 7 of Discover Your Destiny. Okay, if you want the full explanation, you got to go do the program. Okay, summer cohort's about to start. I don't know if by the time you see this, if it will already have been started, but there will be another one. So you can still go on down to the Discover Your Destiny and find and do the things. Okay, so in this conversation, we're talking about our brain people, right? And just kind of, well, our brains, excuse me, and understanding, how information, life, circumstances are processed, and about how then our brain responds to those processes, right? And the different areas in the brain and what each area needs and how each area moves, reacts, and responds. So there are 4 areas of the brain: the cortex, the prefrontal cortex, the limbic area, and the brainstem. Okay, now excuse me if I get anything wrong. A couple episodes ago, we talked about considering the source. Okay, I'm not a brain doctor. I'm a podcast host. I'm a young lady who went through a program with an amazing teacher, and I am now trying to regurgitate the information. Okay, so please, if I mention something wrong, just you can gently correct me in the comments. Thank you. Now we're gonna start at the bottom and move forward, because basically the higher in the brain you are able to access, the more needs in your life that are met. Okay, now I probably should have put that slide in here, but I didn't, so work with me. Now there's the brain stem, which controls involuntary systems, and maybe Kimberly, you can help me as we go. But there's the brain stem. It controls involuntary systems, flight or fight response, works with the limbic system to get us to act. So my understanding of this is it's real primal down there. It's real, like it says, it's fight or flight. It's real survival instincts. It's very much reactionary. We're not really thinking about it too much. We're not really processing it too much. We're just kind of doing, we're acting, we're moving. Okay, it's that's just what it gives. It doesn't give very much. When you think of brain and processing, it's kind of the lower processor part of the brain. Okay, then there's the limbic area. This is the amygdala fear response in the hippocampus, the memory center. So in my mind, this is like the part that kind of looks out for us, right? It's like we're gonna recall some things. We're gonna tell you if we're afraid of it. We're gonna say if we should or shouldn't do this. You know, is it safe? It's the part of us that kind of wants to keep us safe. It's not necessarily gonna be risky in there. It's not necessarily gonna be whimsical. It's very practical in there, and it's very, standard, regulated. Hey, did this get approved? Do we know who this person is? Who gonna be there, right? That's the limbic area. Okay, then we have the prefrontal cortex. Now this controls impulse, insight, and empathy. This is our decision making center. So this is the part where we kind of process things a little bit more. We consider our feelings, we consider other people, we consider other things. We're a little more, we take a little more time in deciding what we're gonna do, right? There's more care, there's more control here, right? It controls impulse. So we're not impulsive. We can slow down, we can consider, we can think about best interest. We're not acting off of primal, we're not acting out of survival. We have some options here. We have some pathways that we can take. So we're kind of considering which one serves me the most in this moment, as opposed to, again, just kind of acting, just kind of doing what's maybe standard or what's practical. We might take a chance here. We might, do something risky. We might put ourselves out there a little bit more. Then we have the cortex. This part of the brain moves the brain beyond automatic response to awareness, and it allows us to think about our thinking. So, why did I decide to do that? Was that best for me? Did it work for me? I'm thinking about going crazy right now. Why? I think I want to bust the windows out of his car. Is that because my daddy left me in? So you get deeper about what's happening, right? You start to become aware of the decisions that you're making. This is something super practical. I'm playing it safe. I'm shrinking right now. I'm acting out of response, out of fear. I'm not actually controlling my impulse in this moment. That's where the cortex comes in, because your nervous system is calmed enough of your needs have been met. You don't have to think about what you're going to eat. You're not thinking about if you're literally safe or not, if you're going to be violated or not. You're not thinking about if you spend this next $15, is it going to completely change the course of your life for the next 3 weeks, right? You've got some wiggle room in your brain to consider other shit, to think about other things, to think about, why does the sky look so blue today? And what does that mean for me, right? You've got some space and freedom in your brain to think of those things when you are operating in the cortex. So these are, again, the parts and pieces, the levels in which are the gears, if you will, in which our brain can kind of shift and process from, depending upon, circumstances and needs being met as I've understood them. So before I move on and introduce you all to the brain people, I'm going to read some comments. And she says, tell them to charge it to your brain, not your heart. But I get it. I love it. The downstairs brain equals the limbic system and the brain stem. The upstairs brain equals the prefrontal cortex and the cortex. The amygdala equals the security guard. Yes, we go into survival mode. The amygdala shuts off. The hippocampus goes into survival mode in the brainstem. Who all gonna be there? Exactly. And then lastly, the prefrontal cortex is not fully developed until age 25 to 27. So that's that decision-making part of our brain. Ain't even now all the way. So with all that being said, there is a challenge given to us in Discover Your Destiny to imagine what your brain space looks like, considering all of those things, right? Considering the levels and the ways in which your brain operates. What does it look like in there? What are the people doing? The brain people, the movie Inside Out is an excellent image of the concept, right? What are the brain people in there doing? What does their space look like? Are they in an office? Are they in a high rise? Are they in a lounge on a campus in the yard? Like, what does your brain space actually look like? And what are the people doing? What are the accommodations that they got? What's their work schedule? Who's clocking in where? And it really is a fun way to personify metacognition. That was a lot of big words, but look them up. You smart. It really is a fun way to do that. It helps you to imagine and play with and put your finger on your thoughts, your thoughts and the way they're coming to you and where they're coming from and what's competing with what and how do you organize what and which person's gonna be responsible for what. And it's like how they say, people are only using, whatever it is, 10% of their brain or something like that. I really think utilizing this concept of brain people allows us to tap into that other 90%, because we now can say, hey, Louise, go do this, that, and the third. That's your job. You're the person for that, right? Hey, so-and-so, go do this or that, or my brain don't work like that. So when you telling me something, I need it to look like this, because we got an old school fax machine and it has to be faxed and then turned into a digital copy. We ain't got digital yet. Or some people might say we still have a bulletin board where we're pinning information up on the bulletin board and we unpinning it, put it in the files, and then we don't bring it out until it's time to go, right? Then there are some people whose brains are like them digital boards and it's 1,025 tabs open all at the same time and all functioning and aware and processing. So it's just like, using this concept to get inside your mind is so fun. It's so like, when the hell ever have you ever thought about that? When? Never. So think about it. Try it. It's fun. Okay? So let's see. Comments. I love Inside Out. They are two of my absolute favorite movies. I'm building a curriculum about it at some point. You should absolutely do that. Come on, personify metacognition. That prefrontal cortex is developed over here. Oh, and it is. My man raised no fool now. Okay? You see her with these words. I am loving it. Yeah, you better use that vernacular. Okay, so I made a cutie little graphic. I don't know what I want to show you guys first. Okay, I'll show you this because I'll just show you. This is just kind of like where everybody is, This is the brain space. Okay, this is my brain space. Now it's a simple diagram, if you will. But this is just a little visual. So there's the brainstem, the limbic area, the prefrontal cortex, and the cortex. Now, there's nobody in the brainstem right now, only because I'm not really trying to meet her, because she's a bitch. Okay, she exists. Totes exists. She comes, I know when she comes out, right? And she comes out when I'm around talking to people. And thankfully, I ain't been around them in a really long time. So, you know, she and I are not really engaged, if you will, at the moment. So I don't know who that person is, but there's somebody there. I probably should have put a layer down there because she's miserable. Okay, let me just say that. Now, if we move into the limbic area is where we find Louise. Okay, now Louise is my executive assistant. Okay, she works look, what are her, I actually don't really know Louise's hours, because honestly she's like the old school assistant who you call at home and totally violate like HR hours and stuff and privacy and stuff, but she knows exactly what you need her to know when you call her. So I kind of take advantage of Louise. It's unfortunate. She's I'm sorry, you know. Again, she's the one making practical decisions. Does it make sense? Is it efficient? Do we have time for this? Who's finna be there? Why are we there? What's going on? What's happening? That's Louise, right? She's the one operating the fax machine. She's the one who they're first making the coffee. She's the one you go see when you're hired. Like, she's gonna tell you what your job is. Like, Louise runs it all. Okay, she's great at her job. She might spell something wrong. She will spell something wrong. She don't read labels. Okay, new technology and stuff, she'll do it, but it's like, why? You know, it might take her a while to like update her computer, and like, you want me to use this calendar now? Okay, I'll get to it. Like, that's Louise. We all know the coworker who has been on the job for 20 years and is gonna do just enough changing to keep her job, but never eager about it, never excited, never the first one to volunteer to do some new shit. That's Louise, okay? Now, the comment says, not you taking advantage of Louise. I'm calling the people. Yeah, no, you might need to call the people. But the thing is, Louise loves it because, see, it's unfortunate, it's a codependent relationship, because when she goes home, she don't have nothing else to do. So she be wanting to be wanted, right? That's why she keeps the files, she don't put them necessarily always right, because she want to be the one to know where it's at, because if she put it and she followed the system, she could be replaced. You understand? It's you know, she's got some growing up to do. We know Louise. Y'all know Louise. Put in the chat a name of somebody who is like Louise in your life who you know. We don't need a last name. Just put a name in the chat, because I know you know somebody. Okay, while y'all doing that, I'm gonna read these comments. This says, I love this so much. Now I want to make one. Absolutely. And it says, yo, I have a sage. Oh, yes. Okay, I can't wait to hear about that, Embrace. I'm realizing some of them are my email names. Sorry, my screen on this thing is cracked too, so. It says she is trying to keep you safe, and sometimes you don't be listening. Ooh, she is doing what she thinks is best to protect you. No, absolutely. That's absolutely what Louise is doing. Let's see. Now, Louise definitely needs to get her spelling together asaptually. I'm telling you, Louise said, I'm not taking another spelling class. Like, no, I'm not doing that. Okay? She's not doing it. She's not. I'm telling you, she's not. She's tried it, and she's not. But we're working on it, okay? Um, we can't have errors in the, no, there be errors in the memo. Louise is gonna have to bring it up to speed. She is writing the musical slowly right before our eyes. Oh my gosh, I'm crying. Okay, so let me show y'all. Oh gosh, let me show y'all the women who inspired Louise. So, Louise was named after me, who was named after my grandmothers. Louise is one of my middle names, so my full name is Shekinah Tay Louise Holiday. And Louise was the middle name. Just so happened, well, nothing just so happens, because, you know, God got everything written before we were here. And Kimberly, we didn't save that daggone chat that I wrote the meanings of the names in. At least I didn't. Or at least if I did, I don't remember. But anyway. My father's mother, biological mother, my mother's mother, and my father's stepmother all have the middle name of Louise. My dad's mom passed when he was 9, and my grandfather remarried, and her middle name was Louise. And then my mom's middle name is Louise. So I just wanted to show you some pictures of my grandmothers. So this is, and I don't really consider her my step grandmother, but for the purpose of organization, we'll call her that. My step grandmother, Gracie Louise Holiday, and myself, we were at her and my grandpa's home. So this is, okay, yeah. So this is my grandfather's second wife. Loved her down. They were always in love from everything I've seen, like flirting and all kind of stuff until the day they left us. And this shirt was a put a ring on it shirt, of course inspired by the Queen. And as you can see, I have dreads in this picture. I love that shirt. I had this ring, I don't think I have it on, or if I do I can't tell. I had this blue sparkly ring that matched the blue in this shirt. This is myself, my grandma Gracie, and my grandpa at my high school graduation. So Gracie Louise, and then that's Gracie Louise solo dolo in her blue. She was infamous for a French roll, even though she doesn't have them in any of these pictures. Oh no, she has it in this picture. She had her little bangs, and then her hair would be up in a French roll in the back. And now that I think about it, that's exactly the style that I'm going to wear in my 70s. Is 60s too young? Definitely in my 70s. It was very cute. Okay, so let's see. I can't wait for the musical performance. Honey, I can't. I'm reading the comments. Okay, we are proud parents watching the birth. Gonna be crying at the graduation. Louise is a classic French given name of French origin, meaning renowned warrior or famous in battle. Yes! Warrior queens, honey, okay? So this is Gussie Louise Holiday. This is my dad's biological mom, and that's my dad there in the picture. Beautiful stallion of a woman, honey. She was an educator. Both of them were actually educators, and she was a music teacher. My dad is musically inclined. Both his brothers are musically inclined. Both my brothers are musically inclined, and then here I am. I just happen to look good and be funny. So anyway, this is Gussie Louise and myself. You can tell I have her nose right here and her smile. This whole lower origin is all Gussie, all day long. Shout out to my grandma. This is Lillian Louise. So this is my mother's mom, and those two young ladies are my cousins that she's in this picture with. She was famous for, you can see these curls going to the back. Every morning she would have, or every night she would put her little rollers in, the foam rollers, and then in the morning when she wake up, she would just kind of refresh the curls and then do like this and go about her day. She was fully gray by the time I was around. This is obviously an old school picture, but clearly the same style. So this was before all of that. This is Lillian Louise again. You can see that beautiful chocolate skin. Here she is at a club dancing, and then look at another club, probably smoking a cigarette or something, talking smack with somebody. So that is her. She was a shorty, about 5'3", I believe. So those are the women who inspired Louise. So if you could take all of their old school practical ways and put them into an executive assistant, that is what you would get from Louise. Okay, so we're moving on to Kai. Okay, now Kai is a fairy. Yeah, she is a fairy. So I needed something to represent Kai, and Kai is a fairy. It's spelled K-I. She is having fun. She is floating around through the wind. She's just doing whatever, life comes. She's doing what feels good, right? That prefrontal cortex is about intuition and empathy, right? And going with the flow, not rushing things. Louise is often trying to be efficient and on time and hurry up and wait type person, where Kai comes in and says, hey, we can take our time. We can do what feels good. Get up here. Let's dance. That's Kai. And last but certainly not least, there is Sage. Sage is the newest member to the family, and she lives in the cortex. Okay, now I love Sage. Okay, she is like 10,000 years old. She is extremely wise, and I you could think of Sage as the Holy Spirit, honestly, but Sage has a lair, okay, up on the top of some mountains with an extremely beautiful view of an ocean. When you look out, like Thanos, how he could like look out and see everything, and then behind him there's like the cave. Yeah, that's Sage's like situation. But inside the cave there's like experiments and bubbles and plants that are like lush and unheard of and otherworldly. Like, what the heck where did you get those seeds from? Because probably she's like created it and alchemized it, or manifested it or something. Beautiful fruits and charcuterie boards and lush like seating, and it smells like freshness in there. There's always some fresh cookies up there. And Sage only speaks in statements. Okay, Sage never asks questions. Sage never doubts. She rarely speaks, but when she speaks, it's because she knows what she is saying is what it is, right? She only comes out when needed, right? There's definitely a level of calm and intentionality and welcoming that has to happen before Sage shows her face. So she's obviously the most developed part, the most grounded, the most inspired person in my brain. And somehow they all kind of seem to work together and are making this dream come true. It's exciting, it's fun to meet the different peoples and the different things that they have to do. And I encourage you guys to take the trip for yourself and know that it takes time. I was introduced to this concept like a year ago, okay, and I'm just getting these names and people and places and spaces and organizations of the situations, okay. So it might take you a while before you can figure out what your people and what your thing is, but it's worth the conversation. It's worth the consideration in your morning routine, in your evening wind down, or whatever, or with your next girls night. It's something you can talk about and share with the people. So with that being said, y'all know we got to end the episode with a conversation challenge, okay? So this week I want you to ask yourself, who are your brain people and what are they doing? Okay, what's everybody's responsibility? And maybe it's only a brain person, maybe you only have one person or an idea of a person, but just explore that concept. Talk about it with your girls and let me know in the comments. I really, really want to hear from you and what you have to say, okay? So if you want to find more Let's Talk Sis, please connect with us on socials, on Facebook, on TikTok, on Instagram, at the Let's Talk.sis podcast. You can also connect with us on Patreon, okay, where you will have all kind of exclusive access, all kind of exclusive benefits, and on top of that, an amazing and wonderful community of women, okay? Pull up on us over there, and I will be right back here next week with more Let's Talk Sis. I'll see you later. Bye.